The Young Man's Manifesto, Chapter 1. Society is lying to you, but please don't burn it down. We're all living in a made-up story. Regardless of your culture or nationality, you're being told what you should want out of life and what your reality is. Some cultures come closer to the truth than others. These cultures tend to have better outcomes in terms of prosperity and the reduction of human suffering. From the moment you entered naked and slimy into this world, you started forming a worldview. Unless you were a hyper self-aware savant baby, you've been floating through life accepting the truth of assumptions made by the people around you. As we get older, and hopefully more mature, we need to look critically at the way we perceive the world. Many of the views given to you by your parents and role models will have to be reassessed. Operationally, the world will change. For example, applying online for a job didn't exist in the 1980s. The information you were given may not have been wrong at the time it was given to you, but the world is a dynamic place full of moving pieces. The landscape of information is constantly shifting. Your ability to assess new information and adapt will determine your success in life. There's something uniquely interesting about this particular time in history, and that's the fact that most of the world is connected through the internet. This gives a sort of homogeneity or similarity to the cultural narrative that's being told around the world. You typically hear about any time after 1950 referred to as modernity. This cultural revolution occurred through the development of new technology. These advancements created large shifts in the social and societal structures of the world. The way that things had operated for literally thousands of years changed in the blink of an eye. A lot of this new technology was amazing and allowed for thriving and growth not yet experienced by any other culture in recorded history. For example, the ability to make fertilizer through the Haber process, as well as advancements in machinery, allowed for incredible increase in global food production. But all these advancements came with hidden ideological consequences. They allowed some people to think that there was nothing to be learned from the past, because those people never had access to the technology and prosperity that we have today. Thus, many chose to ignore all the lessons of history, as well as the advice and experience handed down to us by previous generations. But just because there are new technologies doesn't mean that the fundamental psychology of humanity has changed. It just means that the underlying behaviors can be manifested in new and sometimes horrifying ways. People didn't stop killing and warring against one another. We just switched from spears to guns, from guns to guided explosive ordnance. Currently, we're in the realm of AI-guided drones. Next, it might be Terminator robots. Who knows? Although the material and social circumstances surrounding humanity change, the underlying nature is immutable. People will always do the things that people do, regardless of the current technological or political situation. Believing that the correct societal inputs will create a perfect person is an insane and supremely arrogant ideology. This line of thinking is supported and propped up in the West due to the prosperity generated by innovation and emerging technologies. But ideas played out to their logical conclusion have consequences. We are witness to the consequences of this previously held generational belief. The failure of many of our social systems is a testament to this fact. I'm not an end-of-the-world doomsdayer or a nihilistic anarchist, but I know for a fact that our current culture has massively failed young men. Our society is collapsing in on itself because of this. Young men are typically the ones out there building the future, creating new innovations and reinvigorating the culture. Instead, the young men nowadays have been told that they don't have a place. They're told to deny the reality going on around them. Much of Western society is being held hostage by ideologues who refuse to acknowledge the distinct and separate traits of men and women. Obviously, you'll always have outliers who break the pattern of the norm. Women who are more masculine and men who are more feminine, but this is rare. The distribution is heavily favored towards normality and typical outcomes. In addition to this, there is an outright denial of the core values that create a cohesive Western society. We can see in our world today the results of denying the underlying biological and psychological differences of men and women, as well as denying the necessity of cohesive cultural values. It leads to big problems. Denying these very obvious differences enables people to question all of reality. Starting with the French and ending with the Ivy League institutions, postmodernism has crept into almost every vein of Western thought. Postmodernism is the idea that there's no objective truth, and that reality itself can be bent to the will of the observer with enough verbal gymnastics and general philosophical shenanigans. Because Western culture has been so deeply infected by postmodernist thinking, our political and cultural foundations are falling apart. This is bad news. Some people have fallen so far into despair about the current situation that they want to destroy the whole system. But it's much easier to tear things down than it is to change them. It seems that people are more interested in destruction than healthy reformation. Riots are a good time when compared to repairing the stonework of an old historical building. Many people are allowing their anger to overrule their long-term thinking. As our perspective changes and we wake up to the reality of the world, it's easy to become disheartened and angry. It's uncomfortable to realize that things are so much different than what you were told. Western society has become increasingly disconnected from reality, and the frustration of regular people is starting to bleed through the cracks. We see general unrest, dissatisfaction, and worsening future prospects as things progress further into decay. This tends to be when we all say, screw it, and grab our torches and pitchforks. Why not burn it all down? Why not take the old corrupt half-wits out of power and kick off a fresh civil war? Because things can get better if we live out the truth and confront the lies. War destroys infrastructure. In the chaos of regime change, the law and order sustaining the society is destroyed as well. Even if your ideal is superior, you lose the ability to enforce it. Bad actors are almost always spawned from a lack of order. The stability is just as hard to rebuild as the infrastructure itself. I don't want to go back to the Stone Age with tribal warlords squabbling over harems and territorial rights. I like hot showers and flushing toilets, and the general amenities that come with complex society. If we burn it all down, we're left with nothing. But if we decide to lead a cultural reformation based on truth, reality, and personal responsibility, we may have a shot at creating a better world for ourselves, and, more importantly, generations to come, with indoor plumbing intact.